Hi, my name is Rebecca Smith, and I've been asked to talk about my paper, The Emergence of the Quantified Child. The concept of this paper developed while I was working in a local elementary school. I was sitting through a workshop on the new teacher evaluation system, and two things really became apparent. First, I began to notice the repetition of certain words and phrases in teacher and administrator speech, words like assess, collect, data, measurement. And secondly, I really noticed how integrated the quantified movement has been tied to students' learning. So overall, these two concepts were being introduced through the teacher evaluation system that has direct implications from No Child Left Behind. And this made me wonder about the influence of federal policy on teachers' discourse and the normalization or legitimization of data in schools. So in my paper, I wanted to explore the connection of educational documents by analyzing them historically, socially, politically, and intellectually to understand the conceptualization of data and understand how this data discourse moves power throughout schools, implements certain structures, limits and fosters certain thinkings, and it's become such a force in education. So I looked at documents that have a break in educational thinking. And I started with Thorndike's 1918 chapter, The Nature, Purposes, and General Methods of Measurement of Educational Products. Now, Thorndike isn't going to talk about data. He instead is going to use the term products. But what he does is legitimizes the use of the word products with concepts such as rigor, reliability, and precision. The second document I looked at was the Elementary and Secondary Act of 1965. And in this case, data is going to be used to calculate funding, and it becomes entangled with this concept of generational poverty, and data is going to be used to evaluate the success of these educational programs. The third document that I looked at was Gardner's 1983, A Nation at Risk. And here, statistical data and test scores are used to blame the failings in schools and also to create this issue, this problem of economic ties, economic failures to schools. And the final group of documents that I looked at was the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001 and then the annual reports from 2001 to 2012. You can see the influence of business culture, and data in this case is going to be used to categorize children to close that achievement gap. Data is going to move from kind of a backdoor discussion to a very public discussion through reporting and accountability measures. And we're going to create this entire data industry around the collection of students' data, including data warehouses, software, really showing how data causes us to do different things. So these documents are evidence that data isn't a naturally occurring phenomenon, but rather a man-made. And in the second part of the paper, I conducted a word analysis to see how often certain words are repeated in these documents. So for example, the term assess or a form of it, it doesn't appear at all in Thorndike's chapter or ESEA. It's going to appear 8 times in A Nation at Risk, but 504 times in No Child Left Behind. So the other terms that I look at are collect, data, measurement, reliability, scientific, statistics, test, and validity. So what I really hope to do in this paper is to really bring to light the integration of data into current educational practices and discourses, to understand how it's become normalized and how it limits and instigates thoughts and actions, and really question this power of data.